Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this competition, part of the Triple Crown Challenge organized in SSR by Alan Fry. And today we are joined by a whole community of people from MSR for a wonderful race around Daytona. And today I will be commentating with Trouble here with me. Say hello, Trouble.
Hello, how are you?
Hope you're doing great if you are watching today, and hope you will enjoy this. We've got Trouble manning the cameras today. And how much experience do you have on Daytona, Trouble?
On AMS2, not so much, but on PC2, plenty.
Alright, that's a lot better than me, because I've barely driven this track, only when it came up, basically. Well, what to make of the track, you think? Because we got a multi-class race here, of course, and I know in real life they do have races like this here. I think Daytona has a 24-hour race. Is that every year? I don't know, it does happen. I've seen it happen.
I think it's every year, because I think it's part of MSR, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and that's that will be the race that we are simulating today. Then we've got two classes. We've got a DPI class. These are Daytona prototype cars, and we've got the GT3 cars. Of course, everybody knows those. Here's an example of a Porsche, which is a very famous
Another Porsche.
Another Porsche. We only got Porsches today. Here we go.
The odd McLaren, maybe.
Yes, we've got a McLaren as well. Got a variety of cars and a lot of drivers today. I'll quickly go to show you, because the scoreboard only shows 16, but that's because it's limited. If I scroll down, we've got 25 people in this lobby right now, which may be a record for an AMS2 lobby, to be honest. You can see it's quite competitive. The GT3 cars are about 11 seconds behind, but both classes, I think all drivers are within 2 seconds in the DPI. In the GT3, there's a couple of people still haven't quite found their groove. Regardless, that is only practice, but we are about to exit practice. Only a few minutes of it before we enter qualifying.
Yeah, so we have 12 DPI cars and 13 GT3s. Although there are different GT3 cars, they so far seem to be relatively well matched. With the DPIs, despite them having different teams' liveries, they are the same base car in game, so they will be, at least in theory, the same speed.
Yes, exactly, and the only differentiator there could be set up, because of course every driver can still set that to their preference. So we might have some people go for a little bit less downforce, a little bit more less drag, more speed on the straight as a result. Some might be more comfortable with a little bit more control over the car. So I've got a bunch of GT3 cars. Let me see if I quickly see how many of each. We've got at least 5 Porsches, 2, 3 McLarens, I think. Mine was a late entry. Got at least 3 Mercedes cars. And we got Cuckoo in the Nissan.
The lone Nissan, holding the entirety of Nissan together as a team.
She was very passionate about driving the Nissan, and yeah, that's good. To be fair, we like variety in our leagues, in our groups. It's a shame really that the DPI doesn't have it, but yeah, we've got a decent grid, and the top 3 in the DPI class being Roman GR, Runelink, and Ultimate Kaiser, which are all driving for MSR today. Wow,
very nice. I mean, in MSR, this is a very common sight to see in the top 3. The 3 of them, along with Tomahawks, very likely to be in the top 3 in most MSR lobbies. But interesting that they are all racing for MSR today, as so far, well, although it's only practice and now on to quali, that does show something at least. Maybe MSR have brought only their best drivers. We'll see.
Yeah, I know that there was a bit of poaching going on with Keese, who is, of course, the team captain for MSR, poaching Runelink as quickly as he could. He was a very good driver. Roman is already driving. Can we maybe have a look at what he is doing? Yeah, there we go. He's just getting ready for his qualifying lap and driving out with a couple of other drivers. And you do see, because there's so much difference in difference in the pace of these cars, they will have to sort themselves as they go around. I think in principle, if you start your qualifying lap too close to the driver ahead of you, that's your own fault. You can't really compromise someone else's qualifying lap if you have to overtake them through a corner.
Well, that is true. Due to this being such a high-speed circuit, you do kind of want to be as close as you can without being hindered. As speed in this is, and slipstream especially, is a large factor on this track.
Yeah, the ideal, I think, would be after this chicane that we're seeing here, you would want to be in somebody's slipstream and try and enjoy it for as long as you can. Because the rest
Roman
is
appears
all
to be managing that so far.
Right,
in
but
the
there's only the
slipstream
outlap.
of, I don't know who this is. Yes, but it's they will be going on to the his first qualifying lap very soon, so they don't need to actually warm up the tyres due to it being AMS2. But you know, being able to set up for a good lap before you've even started is a nice bonus.
Yeah, but this is a problem now. The driver ahead has made a small mistake, and now he has to force himself by if he even wants to finish this lap.
Yeah, it is a bit of a risk.
I think we're gonna have to see a second run from him. Only have 20 minutes, which I think, as far as qualifying sessions go, is a decent amount of length. You can afford an error, but you know, if you do that too often, you're gonna have issues. I think luckily these cars are not on the new Automobilista physics yet, so lockups aren't that bad, and I do see a couple here and there.
Now, I have not driven that much on the new cars with the new physics, so if there's any changes due to that, I will not know. So,
well, you don't need to know for today, because these cars do not have those changes. Simply,
well, that is at least helpful for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, and these drivers, I think, I'm not sure if any of them have, because I believe there's a beta somewhere of the new physics. And there's some cars already on the new physics. If people are really used to that, they might struggle a little bit readapting to the old ones. But yeah, we'll have to see. I do know that for now, neither community is doing a league on the new physics. So, yeah, Roman, first or second DPI actually set a lap. The Crow also set one, but it is slower. Well, there might be an outlap, to be honest. There might be a glitch or a small bug. But yeah, Gerald Smit in what was second place, but now Emil has overtaken. So,
just a second off of Roman despite being held up, so Roman still very competitive.
As we know him, to be fair. Runelink very close behind. 3/10, that is doable in another attempt.
There we go. And Ducro with a well, maybe not an outlap, but an actual first flying lap, and into third, just ahead of Ultimate Kaiser. So good lap from him.
Yes, and a very good showing from the MSR people. I believe the Crow is also from MSR.
I don't think he is.
Oh, he might not be, actually. I think I might be confusing things. Yeah, but yeah, very good showing from him. P3.
I mean, you may know better than I, but I do not know. Well, I don't remember.
They delayed a race once. There's normally there's Tuesday races that I also commentate. They delayed the latest one. And as a result, I have no idea who they are anymore. That's not that bad. So Casey in P4 though. A little bit further behind, we saw in practice. Maybe there's more from him. Emil in P5. That is top 5 of the DPI class. GT3 class, of course, they have their own little fight. They will not be competing with the DPIs as the cars are simply slower. But you see Veilside there convincingly on top. Delau a solid 2 seconds behind. and a little bit more.
Yeah, Valeside was also fastest in practice, so we'll have to see if he can keep that up. Matt's doing a good Tokyo drift there. But so far, the closest person to Valeside, so we will have to see if he can challenge for that pole position in the GT3 category.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course, qualifying is one thing. It's very interesting to see how this will shake out during the race. Of course, racing pace is something else than qualifying pace, but it feels like it's very comfortable right now. Matt's a little bit less comfortable. I think the slide is something to worry about. If that happens during the race, of course, that will cost you a lot more.
Svi up to second.
Svi up to second.
In GT3, that is.
That's the second place anyway, so good job from him. Not able to immediately send it into another lap. We haven't even spent 7 minutes yet, only 6.5 minutes into the session. We've got I think, decent representative lap times from a lot of people. But always time to improve. Let's see what happens.
I don't know if there will be much time progression within the session, so we'll have to see if they do get much faster. They may well do, but we'll see.
It's very possible. Of course, very hard to say exactly how much there is still to gain. But as it stands right now, Roman in first, but the only 132 on track right now. Chiesa improves up to second.
Still 3/10 off.
Still
And
3/10 off.
Right at the start, when Roman was fighting with someone else during the qualifying lap, it may well have held him up a little bit. Although he did only go roughly a 1/10.5 faster than his first lap. So although he did improve, it might not have cost him that much.
Yeah, either that or his second lap was maybe nothing to write home about.
Maybe.
Very possible.
But still enough for first, so...
Yeah. I mean, something to write home about, I guess.
Yeah.
We're always critical of your own laps.
Yeah, I mean, if that's nothing to write home about for Roman, then that's scary pace.
That would be terrifying pace, but of course we do know he has a very good pace. If you watch the MSR F1 League, that is something streamed by Nismo, who's also joining to race today, then you will know that Roman is very quick, so is Chiesa, and so is Roonlink.
I mean, that's why I'm here. I'm like, what, the fourth commentator in MSR? Well, not even really. But but one's not available and two are racing, so I'm who's left.
Yeah, I'm dealing with the scraps here. I scraped the bottom of the barrel and we got trouble. Literally.
Yeah. It's better than nothing. Yeah, literally.
It's better than nothing, you know. Yeah, Roonlink improves also, and a 133 flat exactly behind his name. Still 2/10 off
Well,
Roman's time.
we were saying that Roman was the only 132. Roonlink trying to get as close as possible while proving us right, so...
Yeah, it still holds, but you know, there's still time for that to change. And,
very
top
true.
Three. So we've got two very distinct top threes developing. We've got Veilside, Amatsvia, and Svi in the GT3 class. All of them, I think, decently close together, within a second of each other. I mean, still decent gaps. Veilside, very comfortable with the car. I don't think he set a second lap. I've seen him in the pits only.
Yes, I think he has only set one lap, but also conveniently all three of them in the Porsches. Fourth being a McLaren though, so they might not be that far off.
Yeah, so the Porsche's looking good here today. I think that's generally what the community agrees to as well. The Porsche seems quite good. McLaren also showing up in the top fringes of the GT3 class. The DPR, of course, we've got a grand top three. Very interesting to see. Gerald Schmidt, though, not that far off. There's a decent gap. When Roonlink improves, goes to the top of the list, dethrones Roman GR as it stands.
Very good lap from him.
Absolutely. And we'll be very happy with that. Roman will have to respond. Hopefully you'll be able to...
And he does, very quickly.
There we go. Speak of the
Very
devil,
quick
and there he
response
is.
right there.
Yeah,
So now 2 of
132.6.
them well into the 132s, and then third place, almost half a second back.
Yeah,
Fennec, good lap though. Fourth, only 400ths behind Kaiser.
Kaiser still has something to improve, I do believe that. And we'll be seeing that very soon, I think, as he was overtaken another DPI car for the line. And Fennec also very solid showing. Very comfortable with this car, it seems, and showing in results. Got Smith in 5th, and I think we've got Jay in 6th, I believe his name is. De Crow in 7th, Emil in 8th, Bo 9th. A couple more people are the Rick, I believe, for SSR, and we've got Nismo and Xevious, 2 MSR drivers in the back, struggling a little bit more. Getting comfortable with this car, that is the most important thing. Because the race is where the points are divided. Qualifying is only for where you started the race. There's no points for that, unfortunately.
Yep. Interestingly, in the DPI class at least, currently it is a MSR sandwich. As top 4 even are MSR, and then bottom 2 are MSR, with all of the SSR people in the middle.
Yeah, very, very nicely balanced, I would say, in a weird way.
Yeah, in a very strange way.
Yeah, but I think that will be interesting with these communities. I believe they're all both. They have German leads. I believe Ultimate Kaiser, of course, German. You can see that from the name if you know a little bit German. And we've got Dustin. So I'm not sure where he is right now. He is also German, and his community is also mostly German. Yeah, Dustin in 6th in the GT3 class as of now. Still some time to improve.
So, with the GT3s, you will probably be able to answer this. There are 13 drivers. So, yeah. Which team has 7 and which has 6?
I have no idea, but I'm pretty sure it's... I have no idea.
Okay.
Let me see. We've got Vilsides, probably from the SSR. We've got Mats Svi from MSR. Alan from SSR. So that's 2. Mozzie, I don't know.
He is very much MSR, being one of the sort of organizers.
3-3. I think Daylo and X's are both MSR. Cuckoo as well, Binding as well, one package. There might be some cross-pollination at the bottom fringes, to be fair.
I think so, as I think otherwise it would be 8 to 5, I think.
It's something like that.
So,
I think Michael has
somebody
also...
Somebody might have moved over.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of people that have driven in both. Of course, the community.
Yes.
Well, if you watch my streams and watch Nismo streams, you will know that I appear in both. One as a driver, the other as a commentator, as Dustin moves up to 4th. Very nicely done.
And in this case, Nismo doing the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. He's currently driving, or not driving, he's standing in the pits, but he's participating in this event here. There's 2 very interesting communities. I think in SSR, I know we've got, of course, the Classic Day Challenge, which is streamed here, and there will be Formula 1 races coming up as well. They've got a regular Wednesday sprint series where they race a random car on an arbitrary track that is chosen by a poll. And they just have a few short races there, which has been going on very consistently for the last I don't know how long. They just keep it up, which is brilliant. MSR, of course, the Monday races in the Formula 1 cars, very serious, super competitive. For whatever reason, we just found the most competitive drivers in MS2 and put them in the same F1 car.
Yeah, well, we found Roman while in PC2, and in PC2, if you don't know, he has the most world records in time trial out of anybody by a considerable margin. So that was it shows how competitive it is if you can get one of the fastest drivers or multiple of the fastest drivers in the game to consider racing in it.
Yeah, and considering that, because this game is derivative from PC2, of course, Project Cars 2. It's literally the same engine that they've just adapted and adopted as somebody sends it into the wall and goes back into the pits. Yeah, as it stands, Roman right now is still fast. Of course, the skills do translate somewhat, but the game has changed a lot since. And there's other people as well that are extremely quick, Runic being one of them. Those two will have a very good battle.
Well, Runelink is both very quick and your teammate in the MSR League, so he's been showing his pace there, and he is showing it again here.
Yeah, correct. Runelink is one of those people where you can practice whatever random car you like. You can feel like really good at it, and then you've worked on your setup and everything, and you think you've nailed it. So you set a really good lap time, and then you tell Runelink that you've done that, and he's like, "Oh, let me try to beat that time with a default setup," and he does it within half an hour, and it's really discouraging. He's really good at the game, so yeah, Roman will be similar. Those two, they are so close in qualifying. I'm sure they're still pushing to try and edge each other out. Roman trying to defend that first place, and Runelink trying to take it away again. They're running out of time though. 3 minutes. I think that's a time for about 2 laps. Roman will be able to finish the one he's starting in a moment, and then do another one right after.
So as it stands, with just under 3 minutes left, it's Roman, Runelink, Ultimate Kaiser, Fennec, Gerald, was it Schmidt? Or was it? Schmidt.
Schmidt.
I don't know if I'll probably just butcher the pronunciation, so I'll
Don't
leave
worry
that to
about
you.
it. They'll complain about it after, and if they don't, they haven't watched the stream, so we don't care.
Well, yeah, but I won't mess it up if I just call them Gerald, so I'll just stick with that. JJ, 7th is Emil, Dicro, Abo, Adoric, Nismo, and Xevious for the DPI category. And then Mats has taken pole in the GT3, held for a long time by Valeside, although he is out of the pits and probably trying to beat it again. So
he just got woken
Mats,
up by the alarm of Mats taking pole position. But the gap is tiny, look at that.
Yeah, very small gap. So it's Mats and then 16 thousandths back to Valeside, who has had that time since the start of the session.
Let's see how he does it actually.
Svi, Dustin, Mozzie, Alan Fry, or is it Anna? I don't know.
Alain? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Exus, Daylau, Cuckoo, Binding, Fat Scout in Summer Body, Wild Package, and finally Michael.
Yes, and I believe Philside is pushing for another lap. And he's about to finish that, I think. Either setting up for one or... No, he's approaching the chicane.
Mid-oval, approaching the chicane. So, very soon we will get an answer. Although he may end up going for one final one in the dying stages of this, if this isn't good enough.
I'm sure he has the time to cross the line and start another one. But I think this is already his pusher. And hopefully for him it is enough. At least the gap is very small, and Mats will not be able to set another lap. So it's all in the hands of Philside now. Is he able to improve on this lap? He's not able to, he still has one chance, but let's see what the timing says. It's not an improvement yet. Let's see what he does now.
He clearly has the fuel to be able to do another lap, so we will ride on board and see what he can do.
You can see a very good view of what the track really looks like. Out of the oval section into the infield. Able to carry a lot of speed, and he uses as much of the tarmac as he can for a good exit. And then, okay, that didn't happen. He didn't
maybe
cut the
some
corner.
connections issues there.
And to be clear, he did not cut that corner. That's not actually what happened, even if it looked like that. The game is sometimes just it loses connection and then tries to project
Correct
what
itself.
someone. It tries to first project where someone would be, while it doesn't have any connection, but it's really bad at it because it just holds the inputs and
yes.
sees where the car would go.
Yeah, the correction then happens when it regains the connection. However, if it's not in the same position, which it very often isn't, it can be a bit janky in the way that it moves the car back with a quick and very violent teleport.
Yeah, and these cars can handle all of that. They build them very differently, I guess. Yeah, as a Veil
Well, as long as the teleport doesn't move through a wall, like that.
He may have run out of fuel. He may have run out of fuel, unfortunately. But yeah, that's Veilside in second place, and Matt's actually taking pole position for the GT3 class.
Very well done to Mats there.
Absolutely.
The DPI, at least the top 5 so far, appear to have remained the same. And I believe, has JJ just finished? So yes. So the top, I think most of the DPI did remain the same in the dying stages of that qualification.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Roman in first, then Runelink, and so on.
Quickly take some screenshots just in case people need it, because it's a very long list here. So we've got Roman taking pole position, followed by Runelink and Keizer for the DPI class, and then we've got Mats in P1 for the GT3 class, Veilside in second, and Svi in third. And that is the top 3 for each. Now for the start, we've got a very special procedure. For the start, I was at the briefing, so I know this. There is a manual rolling start, I believe, where all drivers will... It will basically be a parade lap, as in F1. That's why actually the race is 95 minutes plus a lap and not 90 minutes plus a lap. They will drive across the track. I think there's a maximum of 120 kph that they can drive. And then in the last sector, they will go double file and they will limit themselves to 80 kph. And then
is
when
this
they cross the line,
format often used in SSR with the manual rolling start?
I don't think it's often. I think we've maybe used it once, if I recall correctly. I'm not sure when, but I think we used it once. I know I used it once. It's very janky. It's often a case of we have to, and the rolling start procedure in the game isn't ideal.
Yes. Sorry for interrupting, by the way. It's just that the MSR leagues often use it, with the exception of the current F1 league. So they will be very experienced with this format, whereas although it's unlikely to make a big difference on the start, it can sometimes throw a few curveballs to those who don't know what's happening.
Yes, and as the lights do go out, hopefully everybody knows that we're having a manual rolling start. That's why they are going at a very slow pace right now. Roman decides the pace. Runelink follows shortly behind. He's focusing on Roman, trying not to crash, because collisions aren't turned off, unlike an actual rolling start procedure in the game. So they can hit each other if they want, but they don't want to. Trust me, damage is still a thing they have to worry about. So, what are your predictions for the race, Trouble? Will we see a big fight for first and second between Roman and Runelink? Who will win, and what will happen in GT3?
Well, between Roman and Runelink, obviously it is a very long race, so there is a high chance of them not sticking together for the majority of it. But at least towards the start, I do expect them to have a big fight, maybe with Ultimate Keizer and Fennec, and maybe Gerald there as well. We'll see how big the fight is or what happens thereon after, but at least while they are very close together, there's so many cars that you can expect a big fight.
Yeah, let's hope that they keep it clean. Damage is of course on, so if they do have any collisions, it will give other people the chance to take that first spot and to fight for it, while they are fighting for their communities and defend their honor in the end, they're all fighting for themselves first. So let's see how that turns out. I think we're coming up to the chicane. I believe it's called the Le Mans chicane. After that chicane, the drivers will be allowed to start driving double file. That means, I believe, the leader on the left side, all odd number positions on the left side, even on the right side, I believe it is. And we'll see Roelink take his position next to Roman. Actually a little bit ahead, but that will be sorted out before we start.
And as you said, it is immediately sorted out.
And these drivers are professionals. I know maybe in the back they can have a bit of a Constantina effect.
Hopefully not.
And the GT3 cars are a little bit behind. Hopefully they will catch up a little bit.
We are coming up to the line for the start of this, what will be 1 hour and 32 roughly minutes of Daytona.
Yes, and so we'll get a couple of extra minutes here as well as an extra lap at the end.
True.
Roman constantly drives on the limit of the speed he can. The drivers are nicely set up. The GT3 drivers have decided for themselves to have a little bit of space, which is fair. And there Roman goes, and immediately Roelink is caught off guard. Chiesa, I think, side by side with him on the inside, and he goes past.
And up to second.
That's immediately Roelink being passed by Chiesa. And will have to fight his way back. Fennick remains in P4 and Schmid in P5. Behind that, not too many changes. Nismo in 9th. I think a very solid start. But a GT3 also, you can see that Mats is still in P1. Veilside following through.
Nismo fighting with Emil side by side. They have been for a few corners now.
He's had a very solid start, Nismo. Didn't appear to be that fast in qualifying. But now in the race, he's already fought himself back up to 8th. And looking solid so far.
So if we look from the back of the DPIs, Abo appears to have dropped off a little and losing the back again. So hopefully they don't have any damage, although maybe they're just losing it a little bit. But yeah, hopefully they won't have to go into the pits.
Hopefully that's not damage,
another
but
fight
it does look like
for
it.
10th.
Xavius on the outside, looking on the top of the banked corner for a move around Ardwick, but it's not possible. But a little bit slipstream, and he slingshots right past on the inside, and through he goes into P10. Very nicely done. Meanwhile,
There is another fight just up ahead that you might be able to see. Who is that? Gerald, I think, going very wide.
Going extremely wide. He's all the way back to 11th. That's a disaster for him.
Wow, I think off the track and onto the grass, that's cost them a lot.
Yeah, exactly. That's cost him a whole heap of positions. Back to P11 he goes. And I think Abo has taken to the pits.
Indeed they have. So it would appear that them dropping off the back was due to damage, unfortunately for them.
Sometimes that's just the way it is. Always very unfortunate. So we watch JJ in the slipstream of the Crow, trying to catch up a little bit, and ahead you can see the 4 lead drivers. Fennick keeping up with the pack as well. And that does have to be said. I think he's doing a very good job there. Actually, I think he's getting
closer with the very important slipstream here, as the Crow is too far away from Fennick to get any of it. So maybe a pass just using the speed, or maybe a dive on the inside of the first corner.
Ooh.
Bit of contact.
Crow goes a little bit defensive on the inside. JJ doesn't want to be as far inside as he can, but it's still like going around. He miscalculated a little bit, and as a result, it gets pushed back just a little bit. Fair racing, but very hard. And tough for JJ.
Meanwhile, we can also have a look at a nearly 3-wide fight between the GT3s. Obviously, with the amount of action in the DPIs, we have missed the first lap of theirs, but action still continuing throughout.
Yes, Dustin, a big fight here with Mozzie and Package around him. And this group, and big mistake there from Mild Package. And Dustin says thank you very much and goes through without any problems. And will now be looking forwards to Alan, Fries, Fee, Veilside and Mats, who are clear from this little pack. But it's again a pack of 4 in the lead.
Mozzie making an attempt up the inside, but Package with more speed around the outside. And they might miss their chance to attack Dustin if they continue with this. However, they are within slipstream range, whereas Dustin is not.
It's potentially quite smart from Mozzie. I'm not sure how good the slipstream is and how far it reaches, but if he got enough slipstream there, could have had a better line with a little slipstream, while Package will be compromising his line without much of a reason. But maybe carried on speed as well. Anyway, on the inside, Mozzie is looking, while Package is gonna have to concede because Mozzie is right there, and there he goes. What a wonderful overtake. And that is P6 in class for Mozzie. Well done, and Dustin not too far ahead actually, but nice to run away so much. And Package not far behind, that is millimeters. Package looking around the outside.
You could not be any closer.
Could not be any closer, or maybe inside the car, but hopefully they don't do that. Dustin is lagging because he doesn't have any slipstream.
The run on Dustin.
Oh my god, the speed difference.
Nearly 3 wide again.
Oh,
they are
he makes
3
it 3 wide. Oh, and there's a big crash.
Contact.
A big mistake, Mozzie. Into the rear of Wild Package. I think Wild Package doesn't realise he's
nearly massively cutting the track. Hopefully they give that back.
By accident, just got pushed to a different part of the track, and there's no barriers there to guide you. He has to realise that he has to go back around. I think otherwise that lap might not count at all. Well, it says he's first now, but it's not entirely accurate.
It appeared that Cuckoo was just beside Exus according to the timings, but that does not appear to be the case. So we can go back to the fight between the Crow, JJ, and Nismo. As the GT3 fight was happening, I noticed that this kept going, but there have been position changes, but it has not concluded yet.
No, Nismo, look on the inside there of JJ and the Crow. Nismo has been having an excellent race. Nowhere in quali, arguably, but here he is fighting for, well, this is 5th position at the lead of this pack.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I just had to go temporarily. Right. So this fight is still going. It appears to be in the same order, but JJ was looking down the inside, and now they are coming onto the banking. So slipstream and overspeed will be a big part here, although maybe a little too far to try and get it done before the bus stop. So we may see a few more attempts into the first corner.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they do. I do think indeed the gap is a bit too big, but they do enjoy a little bit of slipstream. So it's all about this chicane. How good is your exit out of it? Well, JJ carries so much speed, and I think he's right on the back of the Crow. He's got more
the Crow
speed.
Definitely getting it the worst. So giving JJ especially a massive opportunity, and maybe Nismo as well.
All around the outside, JJ's looking. I think he's side by side there. And Nismo enjoying all of the slipstream. Looking around the outside. Do we see not a repeat of the GT3?
Nearly 3 wide.
Ooh. JJ covers it off.
Didn't quite go for it.
JJ covers it off. And
maybe with a cutback though.
Goes back through. JJ has to settle behind. No cutback there. On the inside. The Crow was a little bit wide. The JJ positions
Nismo with a
himself
very
nicely.
late apex as well, but no way through as the other two were too wide, blocking the track off effectively. The Crow staying ahead though.
Absolutely, oh, JJ
And
on the
JJ
inside
sending
dives.
it up, locks
but
up a
that's
little bit.
Not the best line.
So far, still side by side, so it may not have been the best idea, but they are making it work so far.
And JJ does succeed. He holds the position and he is through. The Crow doesn't have the best of exits, so as a result, there's Nismo on the inside with slipstream from JJ. And Nismo, actually a huge benefactor, just waiting for the guys ahead to sort it out, and benefits as a result. He even has better speed over JJ. Is that going to amount to anything, though? That's the big question.
No.
Oh,
And they mess up.
I think that's a
They've
big
clashed
mistake.
the curb and spun off. They might be able to rejoin. Well, not enough momentum to stay ahead of Ardwick, but so far now in a battle with Xevious, although the extra speed that Xevious has may pull them out of slipstream.
Yeah, there was a like Nismo being off track there. He rejoined very nicely considering
Yes.
the deficit. Ardwick does go into the pits. I think it's a little bit early for something scheduled. But, there we go. Nismo does maintain P9 ahead of Gerald. I do notice Veilside now has the lead in the GT3 class. Must have overtaken. Oh, there he is. Abo just overtook him in the DPI as Abo finally rejoins the DPI train. There's still a lot of space between him and the driver ahead. Hopefully they will be able to sort that out soon.
The
Veilside.
battle between Mats and Veilside does continue though, and now on the banking. Svi also within slipstream range, so may be able to come into it as well.
Exactly, these drivers are still keeping each other honest. Alan Fry, I think, is also extremely close to Svi. Maybe.
Yes, they
I
are.
would like. Well, you would like to see. Oh, maybe not.
Maybe that's some interesting timing screen shenanigans from AMS2 there.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I don't think AMS2 knows what's going on here. It's saying
No.
Alan is ahead of Svi, but Svi is ahead of Alan. They are in super position right now. You'll have to deal with this. Deal with it, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
Or it might
not
be a
much
bit
we
of
can do about that.
desyncing. Maybe, yeah. Veilside not comfortably ahead, but he is ahead for now. And I think Mats and Veilside are going to have a brilliant little fight here today. Still 80 minutes that they can enjoy it, plus another lap. It's a lot to think about still. All the drivers do have to make at least one stop, maybe two. I think a one stop is going to be by far the most popular. There's also a strategy element that they have to think about.
It could also depend on which class or which car within the class in the case of the GT3s, as they may not have the same size fuel tank or may wear their tyres differently, so it may be more optimal in one car but worse in another, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, globally that will absolutely be the case for GT3s. They're all different cars, but Veilside and Mats happen to both be in a Porsche, so for them it's much more of
between
a
the two,
straight
yes.
fight. And they will have
Oh,
to like,
sorry
make
to
this
cut.
difference. Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, okay,
Do you?
I have been completely blindsided by AMS2 timings again, as it said that Ultimate Kaiser and Roman GR were side by side.
Well, they were, and now Kiz is ahead.
Wait, were they? They
Yeah.
were. So
They were,
wait,
they're
how
still
did
fighting.
How were we unable to see this? Okay,
because
never mind.
trackside camera
I'll
is-
change camera, then we can't miss it.
Trackside camera is sometimes sub-ideal, let's say. But
Yeah, very, very true. They're also now coming up on the back markers of the, or maybe not even back markers, but GT3 class cars. So they've set a blistering pace, as we're only about 14 minutes in, and they are already lapping people.
Yeah, and of course the GT3 cars not allowed to defend against the DPI cars. The DPI cars do still have to make the overtake. You did see how that ruined Case's run through that flat-out corner earlier. Rowan being able to catch, but the gap is still big enough that Case has a little bit of buffer. Will continue to catch cars here and there. As I think the sun is setting a little bit, of course, as it is a 24-hour simulation. They've taken the liberty. what a nice move. I know it's different classes, but it's still a very committal move. Yeah, as it's a 24-hour simulation, the time is also accelerated, so we will be driving in the night in a couple of moments as well. We're going to see some flashing from, I believe that is actually Mats VR on Veal side.
Yes, they, Ultimate Kaiser and Roman GR have almost lapped the entire GT3 field. Make that they now have lapped the entire GT3 field. Roman going around the outside, and seems like Kaiser might be pulling a little bit further away.
Yeah, well, I've enjoyed a little bit of clean air as Rowan was dealing with a driving chicane of GT3s almost. He's managed to go through it very nicely, and will now be able to focus on just catching Kaiser. Running behind is it's got a little bit of a gap towards Roman. Of course, you can never count him out. You can pull something out of nothing sometimes. I think all three drivers here are capable of that, though. The whole top three of the DPI class.
Very true.
Those are Mats are also having their own battle. Mats now behind a Veal side.
Yeah, once again, these two fighting. Well, they haven't ended their fight, so I don't know why I say once again, as this battle has continued for the entire race so far. Although, with them being lapped, hopefully it does not change anything, but things can happen, so...
Absolutely, they do have to worry about a little bit, knowing that they can't accidentally go defensive on a DPI car. But in principle, they are going to continuously battle, I think at least until the first stops happen. Well, hopefully they remain close after that as well. There will be free entertainment for everyone, as long as they stay close together.
Meanwhile, just behind them, two battling DPIs, sorry. We'll see, they're very close together. Ducro and Emil, who we're watching now, just behind the two GT3 frontrunners.
I believe that's Nismo actually ahead. Am I correct? Oh, no, it is Ducro. No, sorry.
It is Ducro.
I'm looking at the top thing backwards. Left is Nismo behind. Ducro is ahead. I'm not sure how far Nismo is behind. That's a decent gap.
Yes, 7 seconds.
Yes.
Nismo is in a not quite as close battle with Gerald, and Ozivius is at least a little ways further.
Yes, I think Gerald also has slightly better pace, judging by last lap's time.
Yes, well, from what we saw in qualifying, Gerald was, I think, 5th in qualifying, so definitely showing that they have the pace, but the earlier mistake where they went on the grass has cost them a lot.
That's very, very possible. Also a little bit of confidence in the car, of course. You maybe don't even have damage, although it's very possible if you touch someone after that. So maybe not even damage, but just because you lost the car, you do feel like you can't do the same inputs and expect the same output, and that is a loss of confidence, and that will sometimes translate into lost time. It's sometimes just the way it is.
So, just to change, we have a very close battle here, as mentioned before, between Nismo and Gerald, and I just wanted to change to this as they are entering the twisty section, so a lot more opportunities for some sort of a dive bomb, or maybe people outbraking themselves. We'll have to see.
Yes, but feels like trying to let them by without losing too much time to Mats. Have to lift off there a little bit, I think. I'm not sure if Mats is too up tune there. It seems to be okay.
Yeah.
Of course, also having to lose a little bit of time letting these people through. Of course, he's not obliged to do it in the same way as you have to do that in F1. However, sometimes
No, you don't have to lift off and give them the space. Well, you have to give them the space, just not lift off and slow down a lot to do it. They already have the faster cars, you just have to let them go.
True, but sometimes it can help your own race if you let them by sooner rather than later.
Yes. Yeah, if you can, you would like to almost piggyback off of them as much as possible.
True, because these are different classes and the time difference is 10 seconds a lap. There's not much piggybacking to be done. They will run away from you. Do you see Chiesa has dropped back to 4th? What's happened?
True. There must have been some sort of a mistake. From Roman as well, as Roman was just, I think, ahead of Runelink, but now...
Yeah, but now Runelink is in the lead of the race.
Yeah, Runelink was previously in 3rd, Fennec was in 4th, and quite sort of, I think, 4 seconds down. Roman and Chiesa may well have had a coming together, as both of them now in a fight with Fennec for 2nd.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that is really not ideal, and what strikes me the most is that Runelink now has a 5-second gap and nobody to worry about. And this could be extremely costly for Roman and Chiesa, who were fighting for the lead. Fennec, actually, sees an opportunity here. Wasn't so much in the conversation for the top 3 earlier.
Yeah,
but,
he was in the conversation
in
for a while, but as soon as he dropped out of Slipstream, he lost quite a lot. But now, back in Slipstream, with arguably the fastest person, or 2 people there, along with Runelink, back in the conversation very much.
Absolutely, and do see JJ, I think, has also caught up to this pack, just behind. There's a little bit of a gap, but insights, if anything else happens, if they have more contact, there will be an opportunity for JJ to get these MSR guys off the podium.
Very true. But also, with the battling, they're still within Slipstream range, so if they can stay there, they might not even require mistakes.
Absolutely possible. Well, we'll have to see what happens here. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what happened. This surely was a coming together between Chiesa and Roman that sent them back.
They both conveniently set a 1 minute 42 second lap on that lap. So
yes,
very suspect.
There was not a gentleman's agreement to go slowly for a lap. But
no,
I can tell you that for a fact.
That
there was
would
no
not be
negotiations.
Especially with Runelink now 5 seconds ahead, that would not have been the conversation they were having.
In fact, the gap has grown to 6 seconds, and I think Runelink is getting into the group at 134.1 actually last lap. He's very happy with the situation and relaxing, and now there's little to no pressure. There's a McLaren in a very inconvenient spot there for Chiesa. He makes it through safely.
Well, JJ was outside of DRS range, but with that difficult overtake, he is now back within DRS of Ultimate Chiesa, who has subsequently dropped out of... I said DRS, I mean Slipstream. He subsequently dropped out of Slipstream of Fennec.
I was going to ask, do these guys have DRS?
No,
they didn't tell me.
No, they don't.
Okay,
I don't know why I said DRS, I just did.
Everybody shame the commentator.
No, I corrected myself, please don't.
Okay.
Please, no Rotten Tomatoes.
We'll get to that after the race. There's still too much going on. Chiesa is still right behind Fennec and Roman. I think he's cut loose a little bit from this battle. And is setting a 133.8 last lap and catching Runelink little by little.
Interestingly, the battle between Nismo and Gerald still ongoing at about the same gap. So, seemingly Gerald unable to get past Nismo, despite them being extremely close, and seemingly Gerald having more pace.
That's very interesting, and the strategy element is not quite here yet. We're not halfway through the race yet. They will fueled for about 45 to 50 minutes. And we're not in the range yet where you can make it to the end on such a tank. But we're getting there, and the drivers will be thinking about it. Maybe some would, and for instance, Roman might have to think about how is he going to overtake Roonlink, and can he make his strategy work for him?
This does appear to be the closest fight so far, minus potentially Alan Fry and Svi, due to Alan Fry's time on the timing board being completely messed up. But at least that we can tell, this does appear to be the closest fight on track, as even the fight between Valeside and Maps appears to have separated a little bit, up to 3 seconds the gap.
I think Alan Fry's timing issue is probably due to desync at the start. He might also gain positions he shouldn't have by the end of the race because of it. Just have to keep a good eye on what's actually happening. Hopefully that will not be.
Although if that were the case right now, they would overtake Svi. But other than that, but hopefully not.
Hopefully not indeed. Let's see, I do think Kees is getting closer to Fennec, but it's just not enough. It's like Fennec defends it perfectly, and it's been so many laps now that Kees has been behind. So what's
he has been getting
do?
gradually closer, so we'll have to see if there's a point at which he gets close enough to just go for the move and get it done.
I think he's getting close now, but turn 1 would have to be a bit of ascent around the outside probably. No, the inside, because Fennec opens it up, but
yeah, and he doesn't want to send it, he does back off.
It's
although
a bit risky.
That time around, he didn't get the best exit out of the bus stop due to lapping a car. So if he can get a run through the bus stop where he is not lapping someone, Ultimate Kaiser may have a chance.
Yeah, and they're doing virtually equal lap times, but those lap times are a lot slower than the lead drivers of Roonlink and Roman. So it's possible that Kaiser is losing a lot of time here. Every lap that he's behind Fennec, a couple of tenths bleed away.
Yeah,
Hopefully
and JJ behind, at least on the last lap, did gain on the both of them. So very possible.
It could become a problem, and the Crow also in the 134s is something to actually have to actively think about and worry about, potentially. Oh, but Kaiser, I think, has a good run here, side by side.
Looking at doing it into the bus stop. Fennec maybe backing off a little, just maybe with trying to get an overtake back into turn 1, but instead messes up.
Good Kaiser. He's side by side with
Roman. Onto Roman.
Roman had a terrible line because he was behind the TT3.
On Fennec messing up slightly, but no, he's got such a good run. He hasn't even had to wait till the first corner. He's already got past Roman.
Yeah, Roman had a terrible run through the bus stop because there was a GT3 car in the way.
Roman, though, trying to hold it around the outside, seemed to go a little bit deep there, so has given Kaiser the position back, but they're not done yet.
No, not done yet at all. Roman has a very good pace and will be fuming at that GT3, I'm sure. Now has to worry about a Kaiser ahead of him, and they will both need to catch Roonlink, because the longer this goes on, the longer they fight, the easier the Flying Dutchman ahead of him will have of a time of winning this race.
Yeah, it's up to 9 seconds now with that last mistake from Roman. So, very large gap even, up to Roonlink.
Yeah, I think the only way you could easily get there, if you're faster, then you can get there eventually, but it's very hard to do. Possible, but it's very hard. otherwise they would have to start thinking about strategy. And I think Roman is looking at this, he recognizes this, he thinks, alright, I'll do exactly what Chiesa just did.
Same thing has happened last lap, just not quite as bad. But it doesn't need to be as bad to overtake.
He's going to be fuming at that GT3. He's like, why did you not let him? Why did you not block him? But yeah, they're
they are both pitting though. Very interesting. Oh, Roman locking up into the pits may have a bit of damage there.
Yeah,
JJ also pitting. JJ, who was very close to Fennec, so avoids fighting Fennec and potentially losing time. It's just those three for now.
Are you ready for some extra bad news?
What?
I'm pretty sure that in these cars, the fuel matters more than the tires. As a result,
yes,
boxing later will give you a benefit. So Runelink is still out there. He's gonna be able to set laps on a lighter car with maybe the tires a little bit older, but if they hold, that will not be that much of a problem. As long as his next few laps are faster than what Chiesa and Roman can do on their new set of tires and in a fuel tank, then he will be extending that gap even further. And we'll be looking at a very simple victory, provided no mistakes are made. But the race is still long.
Yeah, a quick note. JJ, who also went into the pits, has come out ahead of Ultimate Chiesa and Roman. So they must have had damage from their collision. Because they've come out a good 4 seconds-ish behind. Or Roman is about 3 behind Ultimate Chiesa, who is a good 4 or 5 seconds behind JJ. So, yeah, they must have had damage, and I wonder whether Ultimate Chiesa not having enough straight line speed to overtake Fennec could have been because of the damage.
It's very, very possible.
Fennec and Runelink now in the pits, so we'll have to see where they come out. And DeCrow. DeCrow was a few seconds behind JJ, so probably will come out around Ultimate Chiesa and Roman. A lot of the DPIs now coming into the pits, with the exception of Xevious.
Looking like a solid 2-stop strategy at least.
Yeah, Runelink currently coming out of the pits. We'll have to see where JJ is on the banking currently. Coming up to the start-finish, but Runelink is leaving the pits now. Fennec is in the process of leaving the pits, but has fallen behind JJ. So JJ has made up a position from that.
Yes, and then I think does rejoin in second place right now, because Xevious hasn't pitted yet, but is in first.
So Fennec has managed to come out in between Ultimate Chiesa and Roman.
Ooh,
he's split the two.
That's a dangerous position to be in, because it's gonna be fire, I'm afraid, between those two at some point.
Yeah, especially if Roman can put his foot down again.
Absolutely, and hopefully no more collisions or damage to speak of. But yeah, it will be a very interesting conversation they're having in the MSR voice chat right now. Xevious currently in the lead, provisionally, of course, he still has to stop. Runelink though, and what is interesting to me, it appears he only has a 6-second gap to JJ.
Yeah, JJ has made up a lot of time, seemingly a much shorter pit stop, so I wonder if he maybe overfueled the car and has put less fuel in now. That would explain a shorter pit stop, otherwise, I don't know, maybe he's just done a very quick in-lap. But yeah, interestingly, it's a third of the way through the race, and all of the DPIs have now pitted. So that means that they probably have realized that it's a 2-stop race for all of them in terms of fuel. So they've only put that amount of fuel in. So I think we can expect to see another pit stop from each and every DPI.
Absolutely, and there will of course be around the 30-minute left mark. I think it's going to be a difficult one for them to calculate correctly. Because we do have that +1 lap. There is a chance we'll have a graveyard of DPIs that didn't finish at the end, but hopefully that will not be the case.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll
Well,
have just
possible.
enough buffer.
I'd hope that they've at least calculated it well enough to give themselves a bit of a buffer. As if they have specifically tried making it so that it's enough for a third of the race, they at least have the ability to add more. So I'd hope that that's not the case. Otherwise, you might be foreshadowing something here.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong. Let's just leave it at that. I hope I'm wrong again.
Yeah, that seems wise.
Yeah. But I stand JJ at 135.5. That's slower than he was doing before the stop, so I do think Ronan should have gained a little bit. But yeah, I believe JJ must have had a quicker stop, maybe less fuel.
Yeah. Roman a 134, so back to the blistering pace he'd set before. I want to say that that's the fastest one I've seen, fastest lap of the race I've seen so far. Although I can't remember some of the ones from the very start of this race, so I may be wrong there. But at least before the in-lap, or not the in-lap, but the lap before that from Runelink was a 134.2.
Yeah, it was around that area. So Runelink currently not as fast as Roman is, and same with Keizer, as it seems. So they'll be able to catch up a little bit. JJ though is losing time as it stands.
Very true.
So they're gonna come together again. Keizer and JJ are looking to start fighting again in the future. Fennec,
Bo is in the pits as well. Keep going.
Yeah, Fennec is currently ahead of Roman. Roman seems to have the pace over him, so those are gonna come together. So might have a full fight of for second at some point. So it's starting to look like.
Interesting thing I've noticed in GT3 is Matt appears to have pitted as he's dropped 40 seconds, or maybe even more. But despite the timings being messed up, so I couldn't tell by the timings, Svi and Alan were switching positions on track. So, and as we can see, they were side by side. So, Alan appearing to have got the better of Svi for now, as Alan was originally behind.
Yeah, I'm not sure the done fighting as it stands. There's still Svi behind there. And is that, I don't think that's Dustin there, right? I'm not sure what we're looking at, which drivers.
I don't know.
Dustin
is a bit further back. Who would that be? That's one of the Mercedes, meaning it's not Fat Scout, it will be Mozzie.
That's Mozzie, just mixing himself in there. The imposter.
Very much. Svi, once again, behind Adam, but now roles reversed. Svi is in the slipstream, and yeah, will obviously attempt to take the position back.
We're on the outside and the chicane is not possible. He's gonna hope for a better exit, better run through it. Had a better entry line, but I'm not sure if it translates. Does he seem to have slightly better speed, and slipstream will pull him along. Svi then looking to overtake Alan Fry around the outside. He positions himself there. I don't think there's much there he can do.
He does have slightly better speed, so now they're on the flat. He has pulled alongside. However, he does have the outside for the first corner.
Good defending from Alan Fry later on the brakes,
Very
and
good
he
defending.
makes the corner just fine. And they stay in position.
Oh, that was a DPI rear-ending slightly. Don't know who that was. Do you know who that was? Was that?
Oh, the red.
It was Ardwick.
Oh, Ardwick.
Who now has damage, so we'll likely have to pit again, unfortunately.
Yeah, looks like a lap through.
And yes, it would be Emil who just lapped them. So back to this battle.
Yeah, I think.
Actually, no, sorry, I'm going to go to Fennec and Ultimate Keizer, as Ultimate Kaiser, I think, must have made some sort of mistake, as he was a lot more than the half a second apart that they are now on the, well, not the previous lap, but the lap before even.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to criticize the drivers here, right? I think they're all doing a great job, but the times are very inconsistent. If you've noticed, I feel like Roenick has had a quick lap and then a slower lap, and then he's quick again this lap. It seems.
With one of the only 133s of the race.
Oh, it is a very
I think
nice car.
with it especially is inconsistent within the DPI class, which I think suggests that it's due to lapping cars, as if they have a relatively clean lap, they can go as fast as they like. But lapping cars, especially when there's this much of a speed difference, can make a big difference if they get even slightly in the way.
Yeah, if you've ever driven on the Autobahn, there's a lot of speed difference on the between cars. At some point you have to learn that you just there's a spinning GT3 car there, but it's not in the way.
I think that's Mozzie again, because it appeared to be a Mercedes.
It's very unfortunate.
And so this fighting has given Roman the chance that they needed to catch back up.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Back to the three-way battle.
Yeah, they're back together again for a reprise for a.
The boys are back together.
a tour again around the track.
Meanwhile, they are overtaking the battle between Svi and Alan Fry.
Oh, yeah, that's still going on the GT3 cars, of course. As I say, the large speed difference does mean you have to react to basically anything you see, any discrepancy from the cars. You see them brake, you have to react almost immediately. Of course, this is what you would like to see the most, just the cars, finding them on the oval part, so you can easily overtake them. You will have the overspeed, and can just continue without slowing yourselves down. I think the chicane is the worst. I think if you catch someone in the chicane, you will lose time. There's nothing you can do about that.
Very wide from Svi as well, so not the exit he will have wanted. The DPIs have gone back out of sight, so we'll switch to them.
Roman looking at these two ahead. I think he feels he should be ahead because of the better pace he has had throughout the race. Even being in the lead for a decent amount of time.
He likely feels like he should be up there with Roonlink.
Yeah, absolutely.
But these things happen. He was ahead, and then the collision with Kaiser, so it changes. Anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Fennick, of course, benefiting from that, has had a very consistent race so far. Very good pace as well. On top of that, JJ ahead has, I think, also had a very good, consistent race. But we're not sure why his pistol was so quick. I think that might be a mystery that we solve later. Still, he is doing decently with 134.4 on the board last lap around.
It's funny that you speak of Fennick being very inconsistent, as in the MSR server he is known as Mr. Consistent. But now I've said that, he will be Mr. Inconsistent for the next few laps probably, just to prove me wrong.
Yeah, just see him crash at the chicane right here. Just take the curve too hard or
please,
something. I think he's okay. Yeah, he can't hear us, so it's okay.
Oh no, Fennick can hear me. By the way, Fennick is my brother. He can hear me.
Okay. Speak quietly.
Yeah.
We don't want to ruin this race. He's doing a good job between Roman and Kaiser. It's a very unenviable position. I don't want to be there. Very scary. But he's keeping up very nicely with Kaiser, and that's very commendable.
Looking up the inside, Kaiser's going very defensive, but still staying ahead. I was almost waiting there for Fennick to get a better run out of the corner and go side by side, but not quite pulling that off.
Like the biggest problem here that while Fennick might want to overtake Otonski is that every little bit of battling he does pulls Roman closer to him. And I think it's gonna be a problem already next time we enter the oval section, which is just in a moment.
Currently for Fennick, it's a case of the best defense is a good offense. If he can go and overtake Ultimate Kaiser, he may have lost slipstream, but he at least won't have to defend from Roman, and Ultimate Kaiser will have to defend from Roman.
I think he's got his best shot now, Fennec. He's had in a long time. He's very close behind. Will have the full complement of the slipstream. Not even sure it's enough though. Fennec still a little ways behind. He's so close. If he gets a good exit, he could slingshot out of the chicane. I think he's got a decent exit, but Roman is also very close behind. These three slipstreaming each other all the way to the line. Roman is closing in on Fennec, it seems. But,
the three of them getting very close now.
JJ in the pits again.
Fennec has taken a very wide line. Roman might look... No. I was going to say Roman might dive up the inside, but instead, Kaiser has gone very defensive and is now... He's lost so much time. He's side by side with Roman.
Yeah, he went defensive on the inside.
And now wide into the second corner as well.
Yeah, Fennec
he has
very nicely...
lost 2 places.
Fennec very nicely
in 3 corners.
Fennec very nicely around the outside of turn 1. And Kaiser lost so much time that Roman put himself into the fight as well and has also made his way past Kaiser. JJ has stopped in the meantime. I think his fuel was just not enough. So he stopped for a quick one. And well, he continues his race. Currently in 8th though, so that's not exactly where he was earlier. Now it is a 3-way fight for 2nd that Fennec is currently leading and Kaiser is currently challenging for a podium.
Another quick note, Alan Fry has also gone into the pits, giving Svi 2nd in the GT3 category and moving Dustin up to 3rd.
So, very interesting. Billside still in the lead in that category and the gap is huge.
Yeah, the gap has just expanded and expanded, and with the fight between Alan and Svi, it's only got bigger. So he's now got a healthy buffer there.
Is it also because he hasn't stopped yet? Is that also what's going on? Has everyone else stopped?
Other than Alan, I think most of them have not stopped. At least Veilside, Svi, Dustin, Exus, and Matt have all not stopped. I don't think Huku has stopped either. And the bottom 4
Roman, big mistake for Fennec. No, he's right.
Yeah.
He's alright.
A small mistake. It has allowed Roman to close up, but not that big. But yeah, the bottom 4 in the GT3s being Daylau, Fatscan Summerbody, Binding, and Mozzie, I believe have pitted due to mistakes. So
I've
they have
jinxed
pitted.
Fennec.
And yeah, you have jinxed Fennec.
Yeah.
Fennec has gone deep into... I don't know which corner that is, but they have given up their 2nd place.
Yeah, went wide through there on the grass. I thought there was grass on the other one, but there is just no grass there, so I don't know what I was smoking. But the other one was a bigger mistake, and Roman made his way through, and Kaiser also easily. So now we've got the top 3 we were expecting, except RuneLink is 16 seconds up the road.
Make that, yeah. 16, nearly 17. So, very big gap from RuneLink, but still a long way to go. We're just past halfway through the race.
Yes, indeed. And I think he does feel comfortable though, because 16 seconds is a huge gap. And to make things even worse, Kaiser is behind there. I think he wants the position. I think he would rather finish 2nd than gamble on maybe getting a chance at 1st, maybe in the future.
Yeah, very true. He would. 2nd is very attainable. 1st, it's almost half a pit stop.
Yeah. I also feel like Kaiser maybe feels like he is faster. Not because he is faster, but I think most drivers will feel like they are faster than the driver ahead if they're close enough.
Well, maybe not when it's Roman.
I think he's an ambitious man.
Kaiser might have to pinch himself. We'll see.
I think Kaiser is an ambitious man, and he will go for gold when he sees the opportunity.
Oh, he very well. He very well will. Although it does appear that the gap to RuneLink has only gotten bigger due to the fighting. So leave it long enough, and Roman and Ultimate Kaiser may not have any chance at the first if they do at all now.
True, I think the best chance is to wait for Rooney to underfuel in the next stop. And,
or make a massive mistake, probably with lapping a car, as once he gets far enough with this sort of a lead, he doesn't need to push anymore, so normal mistakes are very unlikely.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with him. So I think it is Mats being passed there. The GT3 car.
I think it is.
Yeah. Feels like still leading the category, but obviously. Good pace from him. Svi also has very solid pace. Those two are in a league of their own. Dustin in third, however, the captain for the SSR team.
Yes.
Captain for the SSR team
can't
is
forget
in third.
Alan Fry as well. So,
Yeah.
as he has pitted, whereas the others have not. Matt's pitted ages ago, which I'm not sure, could have been for damage, so we'll sort of inconclusive as to where he is in relation to the others. But yeah, Svi, Alan, Valeside, and you could maybe include Mats in that as well, just in a league of their own in terms of pace in the GT3 category.
Absolutely.
Interestingly, I've also noticed that we've lost 3 drivers. One of which was in the DPI class. I can't remember exactly who it was.
Yeah, I think it was the one that had a big crash. I think we saw him go very slowly. I forgot his name, unfortunately.
Oh,
yeah, he's out.
Yeah.
I think you know who.
I think I know who.
Yeah. If you're watching,
I
hope you know
remember
what I
the
mean.
crash, but I can't remember who it was. But yeah. And then, so there's also been 2 who have left from the GT3 category.
Yeah, one of whom is Michael. Who,
yeah, one is Michael, and the other, I don't know.
No, but unfortunately we are now 2 drivers lower. Access into the pits in the GT3 class.
Oh, so the other GT3 category who is left is Wild Package. Conveniently, Michael's teammate in the MSR league currently. Interestingly, they have both left.
They decided to leave together as a team.
Maybe they did. I don't know if they're a team in this race, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, but ultimately, I think they're all driving for themselves, and
yes.
The top 3 being MSR drivers, Rooney, Roman, and Ultimate Kaiser. They've been anything but kind to each other.
Yeah, I mean, Roman and Ultimate Kaiser, they could be on the same team, but they'll still crash into each other if it means doing better.
Same team with a knife in between.
Or at least maybe doing better instead of losing out to Rune Link.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll just. I feel like this is. Which season was it? The one that. Where Alonso and Hamilton were fighting each other in the same team.
2007, 8?
I think it's 7 or 8.
Well, I think Kimi won that one, so I think it's 7.
Kimi won.
And won the championship. So I think, if I remember right, it was 2007.
Why does neither of us have Sebastian Vettel on speed dial? Who would just be able to tell us that?
Yeah. He's way too good at that. Like, he can remember all of it.
Alright. But enough
I
about...
feel like he was just way too good at the entirety of Grill the Grid. But anyway.
Absolutely.
That's another question entirely.
We'll save that for a hypothetical podcast that will never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Sebastian Vettel, if you're watching, hit us up.
please subscribe to my channel and leave a comment.
But yeah, so as it stands, Ultimate Kaiser not quite as close to Roman as he was before. Obviously still looking for second, but may have missed his best opportunity, at least for now.
Looking through the grid, I think it remains the closest fight right now. Everybody else, I think, is well, it's hard to say down because his timing is a bit messed up. Maybe Mats is a bit close, but it's hard to say. Nismo in the pits right now, though.
Let's have a look. So they are close, but not quite as close.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I think Alan Fry has got past Mats. As Mats, I don't know if he has damage, because he has been consistently selling laps a little bit slower than I sort of expected.
Yeah, as you say that, 147.6 is not the 145.3 that Veilside set, and that he could keep up with earlier in the race, so something must have happened.
Interestingly, Nismo and Svi also both pitting, along with Dustin. So we'll have to see where they come out compared to Alan, as Alan pitted a while ago, but obviously before that was pretty much alongside Svi, or at least very close together.
These guys have the same pit box. What's happening?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Interesting.
I don't have an explanation.
These are very efficient.
AMS2 things.
Pit crew's very efficient. They can handle two cars at the same time in the same space.
Yeah. Yeah, in exactly the same place. They're literally bending the laws of physics.
They are sea fighting right now as well.
Yeah.
Alright, but yeah, that's one of them.
Svi does get away first, well behind Alan. Alan has come out a good way ahead. So Svi will also have to make his way past Mats if he can catch up. Although Mats likely, or at least might have to pit again, depending on the size of the fuel tank on the GT3s. And, well, Veilside well ahead. That's
What's
not
interesting to me is the timing of Svi and Dustin stopping there.
Yeah.
Because it's with about, less than 40 minutes left, so if that's their only stop so far, they are sure to make it to the end of the lap, or the end of the race, sorry. And also raises questions about, like, how much fuel does Mats have in his car? Did they fuel for the entire race when he boxed earlier? It's hard to say. But
it is a good question. But then, also, if you're going to pit once, why would you not do what Alan has done and pit almost exactly halfway through the race? Because then, in theory, you could have less fuel for longer. You just end up filling up a little bit more fuel.
That's a very good question, but I cannot answer.
It's an interesting strategy decision there.
Absolutely, but we'll see how it turns out. Veilside is currently, for sure, in the best position. He's got almost a minute over the next guy.
Yeah, so Alan nearly a minute behind. Yeah, Mats has definitely fallen away from Alan since being overtaken. Svi is not. Is he coming up? Yes, he is coming up to set his first lap after pitting.
Yes, that's an outlap.
It's very slow.
That's his outlap.
Oh no, that is the outlap. Okay.
Well, so this one's not going to be very
fast
either.
Yeah, he's gone a bit wide, but we'll have to see whether it's enough to gain significantly on Mats ahead. Dustin, again, also the outlap, but his outlap was 9 seconds quicker than Svi's. So actually gained a lot. Ah yeah, Veilside in the pits. We'll have to sort of note when he comes out. Nismo back in the pits, so he's probably messed up. It was going so well for Nismo earlier. It's just fallen apart.
Yeah, he had a very shoddy qualifying, I would say. But he's fought himself back really well in the starting phase of the race. Unfortunately, I think it's all fallen apart again for him. Very, very sad, for sure. Also means that some other people will have had a much more decent race. That just means in 6th and De Kroon 5th. People be pretty okay with that.
Interestingly, Cuckoo's timings also seem to be a bit messed up, so we'll have to see how close they are to Dustin ahead.
You can also see there's a penalty for Nismo, probably for speeding in the pit lane,
I would guess. Yeah. So, coming out of the bus stop is Cuckoo. Dustin and Svi are on the banking just afterwards, so Cuckoo not too far behind, but not quite within touching distance.
Yeah, still a bunch more to make up. But Yeah, it's definitely not touching this for now.
Interestingly,
Overall, I think
a long way up ahead, Roman and Ultimate Kaiser are gaining on Runelink very slowly, but very slowly gaining is still gaining.
the difference last lap between Roman and Runelink was 2/200ths of a second. Kaiser being a little bit quicker than both of them by about a tenth.
Yeah,
So,
well, it was over subsequent laps that they've gained, so can't expect them to gain that much every lap.
True.
Yeah, Runelink not making it easy for them.
Question is, I think we're coming up to the moment where most DPI cars would box again. So they've boxed at an hour left, we're nearly at half an hour left.
Yeah, we can expect them to box very soon then. Dustin definitely has gained on Svi. Last lap he was half a second quicker, and I have a feeling he's gained a bit more again. So it might soon end up with a battle between these two.
Yeah,
anything could happen between Roman and Kaiser, so we might see another battle between them. Yeah. And I think also Gerald has been gaining on De Croo. So they are currently 5-6 seconds apart, so not quite as close. But again, in the closing stages of this race, or even through the pit stop, we might see them battle.
There's still a lot developing across the field. Well, I do see, I think Runelink is... Wait, what's going on with the timing? The timing, I feel like it's random sometimes. It's
it's just pinging about a bit. Roman in the pit again. So yeah, you were right. They were about to pit. I will quickly check. Where is Alan Fry?
He's also stopped.
In first sector. Oh no, going on to. Is that the second? Yeah. So going on to the banking, and then Vale side is well ahead, but same lap. The timings are just a bit messed up as ever, so wasn't entirely sure where they were comparatively.
Yes.
So yeah, both again, Ultimate Kaiser and Roman having pitted at the same time again. We'll see where they come out. This time probably with no damage, so likely to have a lot faster and similarly long pit times.
Yes, but it will be refueling, and I think it might be a little bit on edge with their fuel, because I would assume that if you are able to make it to the end of the race, you would box at. Well, given we had 2 minutes extra roughly at the start, you did have the parade lap. You probably want to box at like exactly half an hour. Exactly 1 hour left.
29 minutes left.
29 or 28 minutes left because you've got
that's
the extra
only
lap.
That's only 1 lap later than they have actually pitted. So maybe they just don't think it's big enough to really matter and just feel a bit safer pitting now.
You see Runelink immediately respond with his own stop, trying to avoid any possible difference in strategy messing up his lead, although I think that would be a bit paranoid because the gap was like 16 seconds. But regardless, better to be safe than sorry. And he is in the pits as well. He is in P7 currently behind Sevius, who briefly led the race, only due to pit stops having happened and himself not having done one yet.
So Fennec also in the pit as well. Was previously a little behind Roman and Ultimate Kaiser, so we'll see where he comes out. Yeah. Well, how far? Okay, so Runelink just about to exit the pit now, so we'll see where they come out compared to Roman and Ultimate Kaiser, who are just going on to the last banking. So we'll have to see if the gap has changed at all.
A very interesting one to observe. But Geralt, Squid and Fennec of course also in, so Roman will have just Runelink ahead of him as we do start to see in the distance the sun starting to rise again. And we enter the last phase of this race when the last DPI cars have done their pit stop. And the gap, I think, is grown in fact.
Interestingly, Xevious effectively behind a pit stop, but so far sticking with Roman.
Yeah, and very close by. Kaiser a little bit further behind. And Roman has gotten away from him a little bit, or quite a bit. In fact, last lap was 1.5 seconds he was faster. Exactly. Garrett Smith also in the pits. I think it was like contender for 6th there. Roughly best of the rest.
Looks about right.
Yeah, so I think Gerald has a very good position there to end up 6th or 5th. It will be after Xevious stops.
So yeah, Roman does appear to have lost a little bit on Runelink, so maybe you're right, maybe stopping that little bit later does give you a bit more of an advantage.
And I'm not sure how the tires come out of the pits. I'm not sure if they're pre-warmed or anything. They need some, need a little bit of experience, let's say, to be at their optimum. If that's also the case, then that could also make the difference. Running straight, well, 144 is his outlap, I think.
That is true. However, the other thing is that due to Runelink potentially not pushing as hard earlier on, maybe he has that bit extra in the tyres to be able to just send it on the in-lap and pull away a bit more.
Yeah, I do know that Runelink's outlap was faster than Roman's outlap. So again, that is some extra time gained for the man in the lead right now. Xavier still driving. I think he might have the benefit of some better tyres by the end of the race. And I'm starting to guess that these drivers are boxing when they are, just because the tyres start feeling terrible.
Could well do. In which case, for the DPIs, it might very well be that it's just tyres and fuel run out at a similar time then.
It's very possible. It would be very hard to say. We've got limited resources because it is AMS2. As it stands, we've still got Xevious.
Equally, Xevious also having pitted before, I think due to an error. So, although I don't think they'll make it to the end of the race, they might also have fueled it in a way which allows them to just try and almost re-optimize for after they had made the mistake. As if they had to pit anyway, they might have adjusted it so that they could have less fuel in the later pit stops.
Absolutely. Xevious also taking no chances with the driver ahead, and there he goes actually
Xevious
for his stop.
Pits.
I don't know what you were just saying, but it's just been a little bit disproven. But there we go. Xevious into the pits.
Well, I was just saying that maybe him pitting earlier meant that he'd end up pitting a bit later. So I'm not entirely wrong.
A bit later, yeah.
Just not by that much.
Yeah, not by that much. I mean, to be fair, he doesn't need to extend it more. In the end, whether he stops now or later, he will still make it to the end of the race regardless. I think 25 minutes is a very nice time to pit. So it might be the last time somebody exits the pit stop, the pit box, without repairing damage. Of course, damage is still possible during the race. Speaking of damage, I think we've lost another driver. I think we're 10 on each category.
We've lost another 2. I still don't know who they are, but oh well.
Reveal yourself.
Oh no, it was was it? Oh wait, no. Just keep going. I'm trying to figure out who it is.
We don't know who it is. Maybe the chat, they put something in chat somewhere. But
I think, wait, the DPI, I think it's Dicra.
That's possible.
Yeah, I don't see them. They were in.
They were doing really well.
6th, I think, or 5th. They were doing well. So I wonder what's happened to them. I'll now try and figure out who it is for the GT3, but maybe with a bit less umming and ahhing.
But yeah, you figured that out, and we watched Kiesa as he he wants to catch up to Groban, but currently it's not happening. 8/10 slower that lap. Runelink, crucially, is even faster by 2/10. It's just crazy pace that he has. Fennec behind also has good pace, but the gap is big, and that's gonna be really difficult, I think, for Kiesa to catch Rowan. But I think he's still safe. I think he still has a podium, provided he doesn't make any big mistakes. GT3, I do think it's a little bit more done and dusted. Of course, not until we actually finish the race, mistakes can still happen. It's a long race. Fatigue might start to set in.
It is indeed.
The field side still has that lead though, and it is a strong lead. Have we figured out yet?
No, I've not been able to. I have a feeling it might be an SSR person. Due to just the names left, I recognise most of them being MSR. But I don't know who it is. So, it's someone, but I don't know who.
Or whatever, whoever they are, I hope they have a great evening. And we're very sad to see you go.
Very sad moment. Along with the other 4 sad moments that have already happened that we failed to notice.
An F in chat for the unknown soldier, everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe soon to be known, depending on if we can figure it out.
Body was never found. Yeah, looking at the DPI,
actually no.
Lead. Perhaps Roman.
You would say that body was never found, but due to how this game works, we do know that when they leave, the cars teleport to high in the sky.
True.
So actually, we do know exactly where they are.
Yeah,
exactly. They are in heaven, except for that you can see heaven from the ground if you look hard enough.
Yeah, you can see heaven from. Well, you can see the ground from heaven, but the other way, a lot harder. So
yeah.
A very small car up there. Yeah, Roman, I was looking at his times. He's starting to get into the groove, and I think he's starting to build a challenge to Runelink, a 134.7 last lap. Now he does still have a big gap to go, and only 21 minutes plus 1 lap to make things happen. But yeah, he's pushing, I think, at least to keep Runelink honest. And if Runelink does make a mistake, it could be something for Roman, as in a little bit of good luck and maybe a race victory in there.
Yeah, it is effectively, I think, 15 laps left, more or less. So, he'd have to gain a little over a second lap. So Runelink may have worked hard enough to leave it a bit too little too late for Roman. But have I disconnected?
No, you're fine.
Oh, yeah, I'm back. Okay. My AMS2 was going a bit haywire. But it appears to be back, so hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, it does that sometimes. You have to give it a moment.
So, did you see Roman going off? Because Roman has, at least on my end, dropped to 5th.
Oh no, he didn't.
Okay, no, that's on my end, because on track I do see him where he should be. Okay. Yeah. More connection issues then, interestingly. As it dropped him down by 50 seconds on my end, including the position on the timing screen. But that was not at all true. And he is back to where he should be in second, being 17 seconds behind Runelink. So I have no idea what was going on.
It's AMS2 gaslighting you live on stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah, it's live gaslighting tutorial from AMS2. Someone behind the scenes is just pressing buttons and saying, let's mess with this guy.
Yeah, and that person is definitely not me. Please don't look below my desk. And with Runelink currently...
I can't see below your
desk. A
desk.
little bit of time there. It's 4/10. But Fennec actually really strong pace, really consistent. It seems 134.8, 134.6. There he puts another one in. This is really strong pace, but the gap is huge to Chiesa, unfortunately.
Especially with the pit stop, it just got bigger and bigger. So, again, maybe he can do it, but he'll have to put in very strong, consistent laps and hope that Chiesa doesn't necessarily do the same.
Okay, Chiesa, I think he's struggling a lot more with the car, so is Roman. I'm not sure Runelink is pushing that hard. He's quite satisfied with the pace he is doing.
So, I mentioned that Fennec is my brother. I did hear him mentioning about fuel saving, so you might be right. Some of them may well run out of fuel in the last laps.
Ooh, now that is interesting. Oh, Runic actually says a 34.4, so that theory can go out of the window for him.
Yeah, okay.
He did stop a lap later though, so that might make a big difference.
We'll see if Roman can do a similar amount, similarly fast time rather, as the gap doesn't seem to have changed that much. And across the line, a 1:34.5.
I just got confirmation from the Crow actually. He's in the comments. In the chat telling us what happened. Would have liked to be part of it a little longer, but he spun on the brakes when going into the pits. And what happens in Amos too, this is really funny, when your rear end of your car enters the pit lane, before your front, it instantly disqualifies you.
Yes,
no matter what.
I have very nearly done that myself.
There was a sniper on the roof of the Daytona building, and he saw the Crow enter backwards, and he needed that second invitation. So that is what happened to the Crow, unfortunately. But he's had a very good race, and very unfortunate to end it that way. He will have another chance. I think it's next week that we are.
Yes, it is. At Spa.
Yes, that will be something to look forward to for next week. And the Crow will hopefully join us there again, and we'll have a second chance at maybe greatness that time. But P5 I think is already really good considering the field.
It is very good. It's a shame for the Crow, they were doing really well. But yeah, it's a shame that happens, but it does. And you know, you can't really do anything if you get a DNF. At least if you get a time penalty, you can try and, you don't lose everything. But DNF, you're done. So, I hope you've had a good race.
Yeah, well, it's always enjoyable, I think, if you have a good race. Regardless of if you just got disqualified by a pit entry or not. At least it's a lot of fun.
Bo and Emil, previously the two closest cars on track. Emil now in the pits, so
not anymore.
No longer.
Well, the good news for Emil is that he doesn't have to think about fuel at all after this little thing.
Yeah, that is very true. Next closest is Dustin Sfee, I think. Alan Fry has, I think, pitted again? Yes, they've pitted again, meaning that they are now down to 4th, and Dustin, as you said earlier, is up on the podium.
Yeah, Dustin in P3 right now, captain of the SSR team. Ironically, on the 3rd place of the DPI class, is also the captain, but of the other team.
Yeah.
So they are
both
sharing
teams in different classes, so
sharing that position. Yeah. It's a wonderful coincidence.
Well, last lap from Alan Fry, a 1:44.5, and Svi a 1:44.2. Whereas Dustin's was a 1:45.6. So, for Alan is, I think, 6 seconds behind. No, it's much longer due to the desync. So I was about to say, I think that they'll be within range in a few laps, but I don't know how much the desync is, and it seems to be quite a bit.
I think it's like 10 seconds. It's crazy. I'm not sure what happens. French internet is crazy. But yeah.
Well, it would be Alain then.
Yeah,
I was going to say, his name is spelled like Alain Prost.
I might be wrong. Anyway.
Wait, if he's French, then that would make sense. If not, well, I at least have no idea, and I apologise. But, you know, nothing I can do about that. Yeah. At least at this moment.
But maybe he can do something about his position. He catches up to Dustin, although there is a case of running out of time, as Dustin does have to let a DPI car by. Not so much by choice, just by speed. So
it's definitely a very long desync. Mm-hmm. I want to say about 20 seconds, as it says that it's only 5 seconds, but it's a lot longer than that.
True,
which
and this
that
is
does add up with.
Oh,
As we see a DPI going off. But yeah, that does add up with the pit stop time, as it would have been a bit weird for them to be just behind after having pitted when the pit stop loss is about 40, 50 seconds, I think. Maybe even a bit longer. But yeah, so Alan Fry and Matt's having pitted more than anyone else, I think. Well, maybe... Yeah, I think maybe Fat Scout, Binding, and Mozzie towards the back might have pitted a bit more, as they are 3, 4, and 5 seconds behind, respectively. Seconds? Minutes. 3, 4, and 5 minutes behind, respectively.
yeah, it's just a little bit gap, but
yeah.
as long as you're having fun, you know, it's okay. Matt's in P5. I'm not sure what happened to him exactly. He was fighting for the lead at the early stages, so made a bit of a mistake.
Well, yeah, I think he did make a mistake and had to pick quite early, so he may well have just not been able to have enough fuel to keep it going to the end on just that. So he was probably forced to pit again, but we did miss that original thing that appears to have messed his race up quite a bit.
Very unfortunate, of course, but we still go. We do lose another DPI car, I'm noticing.
We did.
Yeah, we're at 9 now.
It's JJ. Who
Oh, no.
was, they were a long way behind at that point, because I think they had made a mistake and had to pit again. So they were, I think, a good minute, maybe 2 minutes behind the other DPIs, but it is a shame to see them go. They were in second for a good long time, so I hope they've had a good race. It looked like they did.
Yeah, they had I think, well, they did drop back a lot later on, but before that they had a decent little shot at being up there with the top 5. Unfortunately, that did fall apart. I think the pit stop was a small error in how much fuel we added, and that forced him to pit again. Maybe others don't have to do that in the end. I say maybe, because Runic just did a 136.2, and I'm hoping that's not all fuel saving, because if that's the case, he's in big trouble. Kiesa did a 137.1 though. And that is interesting.
Yeah, they might all be fuel saving. They might all have underestimated the amount of fuel they needed.
Yeah, I think it's weird because I was looking at it. The point they pitted, there were about 31 minutes left, and I don't think you need to do 31 minutes plus a lap roughly, because the last lap doesn't end until somebody crosses the line, you know. So you have to account for that time plus another lap, because they're doing plus 1 lap. So really, they need to fuel for plus 3 minutes.
Ish.
Yeah, plus 3 minutes roughly. So it will be 35 minutes. Nobody has done a 35 minute stint in their top 3.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, at least not at full speed.
Possible,
I think if you...
but maybe they do. And it wouldn't surprise me, as in the last MSR race, Runelink nearly lost the lead due to fuel saving. So clearly he's used to having to fuel save, but at least this time he has quite a large buffer. Although with the top 3 all going considerably slower, it doesn't seem to be only himself this time that has that issue.
I don't think Runelink has to worry so much as long as he has enough fuel to make it in the end.
Yeah,
he can save quite a lot. 16 seconds is a big gap. I think Kiesa needs to worry, because Fennec, I don't think is fuel saving.
Maybe not currently. Maybe when he dropped back earlier, maybe that was him fuel saving. I don't know. But yeah, Fennec getting considerably closer. Ultimate Kaiser having dropped back from Roman, but now, at least in the last few laps, Roman has been going a bit slower, so maybe they are now struggling with fuel. And it could all go a bit mad, to be honest.
Yeah,
Some people just not either pitting for fuel or not being able to make it or anything really.
Yeah, we do have to keep an eye on those near the end of the race. Still 8.5 minutes to go, roughly, before the last few laps start, really. Then we have the lap ending, and then we have a lap after that. Roman and Rooney roughly at equal pace in 36s. Kies at a 35.4. Picked up the pace a little bit more again. So I'm hoping that the fuel situation isn't that dire. We could have a very interesting end, so please do stay tuned. This is 10 more minutes of your time, and we'll know exactly how this race finishes, because I have no idea.
No, it is getting very interesting. Also, I've been asked, are we doing interviews after the race of the, of the drivers who want to come and be interviewed, I guess?
Yeah, we can see if we can get the top 3 of the DPI class and the GT3 class. And I do really want to hear some driver perspectives, because it's been a very interesting race. I think the GT3 car...
Yeah, well, we never seem to have enough information either, so...
True. I think the GT3 race was very much a relatively normal race. We have a fight at the start. Something happens to Mats, we don't know what. And then Vilside just kind of runs away with it seems. And the rest is fairly normal. I'm not sure what happens with the DPI. I feel like the strategy portion has been extremely challenging for them, and I would love to hear from a Roonlink, Roman or Kaiser exactly what they are going through right now, because I'm not sure if they're comfortable. On board with Roman to see if he is pushing the car or not. I think the answer would be no. Kaiser with a 34.8 though. He is actually pushing. I think he smells blood in the water, with Roman being a little slower.
Yeah, I think so. He has gone back into the 134s, so 6 minutes? Possible. Definitely possible. But we'll have to push hard and not have to fuel save at all if he wants a chance of catching Roman.
Yeah, we need to be consistent, but I think that's gonna be the hardest thing, to be honest. Because you got also back markers here that he's seeing right now, and luckily for him they do appear at the right time. Coming up to the oval section, we'll have much better speed. It goes on the inside, on the apron. I'm not sure that's legal, but continue.
Well, it is to overtake a back marker, so I don't think there'll be any complaints about that one.
Alright, perfect. So he's alright, and continuing into the chicane. Hopefully that didn't compromise his time at all.
Yeah, Roman definitely does seem to be lifting off into the chicanes, so definitely some sort of fuel saving going on. It'd be nice if we could pay attention to the fuel thing on the dash, because then it at least would tell us, but it doesn't actually change. It just says it's on 0, which it clearly isn't.
He's running out of fuel. Now Roman 135.9 last lap. That is much faster than what Roonlink did, but Kaiser is still faster. Did Roman get a notification that Kaiser has sped up and they're trying to run away as best as he can? What is going on inside their heads? That's exactly where I'm at right now. Because there's clearly something going on, I find. But yeah, it could be fuel saving, could be nothing, maybe. I don't think that's likely. Panic, I think is chilling. Trouble can confirm if he is. I think that's true.
He does appear to be.
Alright. I think that's a very good position he has, because he bit up much later. He definitely has the fuel if he did that correctly. And can just cruise home into
Interestingly, Roman's fuel thing does seem to be going down, and it's on 13 litres.
It's on 10 on my screen.
Okay, so maybe it's not right. I was about to say let's look at the others and see what the difference is, but if it's different, that's very unlikely to be correct. Yeah, it's definitely not correct. As I can see from Fennec's screen, he's on to, I think, 17 litres, and if I change his camera, for me it's on 2, and I'm sure for you it'll be on 200.
It's on 17. It's on 17.6 right now, so maybe it's not so bad. Maybe.
I know that seems about right for what. No, it's not too far off what Fennec has. So at least that one might be accurate for you.
Yeah, but I highly doubt it, you know. It's probably going down at the
it's
wrong
unlikely.
rate. Yeah. I do think it's true that Runic and Roman will have less fuel in the tank. And
Yes.
it's gonna be interesting. I'm
I
not
think
sure how Fennec
Roman
feels.
and Ultimate Kaiser especially, as they did pit earlier than Runelink and Fennec.
True, and it was a whole lap earlier, so Roman and Ultimate Kaiser will be the most in trouble. There's a good chance that Fennec gets a podium here.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. The gap's still big enough for Ultimate Kaiser to be able to manage it, but it'll entirely come down to how they can manage their fuel.
Absolutely true. Fennec does have a 134.9, very nice lap. Runelink with a 36.7 though.
Yeah, Runelink massively lifting off, although in this case maybe to
It's a
try
back marker.
and try to get past the back marker, but it did seem excessive when they could have just gone past the GT3 under braking. So
I think I know why. I think he's got fuel trouble, so he thinks I'm gonna lift off a little bit to carry this, let the slipstream carry me a little bit, and maybe save a lot of fuel just by lifting off here. I think that's the thinking.
Maybe.
It's bad news for him. 138.6.
Maybe he'll just turn up the heat in the last few laps and get 132s or something stupid.
You know what's possible. Maybe he's setting up for a fastest lap at the end. But a 13 seconds gap, that is a lot smaller than it has been.
Yeah, it really is. Although it was a 138 last lap, so he's lost 3 seconds in one lap. Which the gap was around 17 seconds for quite a while, and it's only come down 4 seconds. And if 3 of that's in the last lap, then that doesn't really suggest that it would be consistent, especially with only, what's that, 2-3 laps remaining?
I think Runelink is currently on the, will be third to last lap. He crosses the line here.
Third to last.
Cross the line here, then he crosses it again. At that point, the timing will be 0, and then he has to do another lap. So it's this lap, next lap, and the
this
lap
time
after.
he definitely didn't lift off as much. So not having to fuel save as much as as much as I was maybe suggesting.
Hopefully, or maybe he forgot. It could be worse. Maybe it's alright. We'll have to ask the drivers after the race, and I'm very excited to hear what they have to say. What's going on on the Veal side though? GT3 class.
Let's have a look. Wow, he's alone.
He's completely alone. I'm not sure if you've seen any other cars on the DPIs unlapping him for a long time.
Dustin and Svi back into a battle.
Ooh, it's
Dustin actually going for the overtake on the inside.
Very nice. He made a bit of a mistake there, I think, but Dustin immediately profiting from it. He's on the inside. Oh, but better speed for Svi, though. These two are going to have a decent battle here. Across the start-finish line into turn 1, they will go with the DPI around the outside, letting him by.
And going a bit deep.
I think the DPI will have to try again later. Dustin Ronaldo.
There might not be a later.
There might not be a later, because the time is running out. The timer hits 0. And next time Runelink hits the finish line, he will start the last lap of the race. Yeah. So we're in the dying stages of the race now. Lap 58. We'll have 59 laps in the race. So 58 for the lead, that is. Just keep an eye on that if you want to know when Runelink has crossed that line. Roman's still far behind, so we're looking at Dustin and Svi now. This could really matter for a podium position. Svi holding the honor of MSR in his hands. In his second place in the GT3 class would be a good achievement for him.
It would be, but Dustin with the slipstream on this will be the. It will still be the penultimate lap for the GT3s as well, won't it?
Correct.
So, he has. In fact, if he gets overtaken, he has one shot effectively to get the position back. or if he keeps it, he will have to hold off Dustin for another entire lap.
True. Wait, what happened to Roonink is out of fuel. What's going on?
Yeah, Fennick's in the pits. I think Runelink pitted.
Roonink pitted.
And I think Ultimate Kaiser may have also pitted.
Roman is still driving. He's out of fuel!
Roman's out of fuel!
Roman is out of fuel!
Roman is completely out of fuel. So, Runelink will go and drive past. Ultimate Kaiser has pitted. He'll go and drive past. Fennick, who is currently pitting, will go and drive past.
I'm not sure why it's so slow.
Gerald overtaking Fennick, going for the last lap. They may have the fuel to make it. Ultimate Kaiser and Runelink already out of the pits, but will potentially take four from Fennick.
Where's Roman right now?
Stuck on, well, going very slowly on the last corner.
Crawling.
But with it being such a long banked corner, maybe he'll make it, but there's no chance of him. Well, Runelink's already overtaken him. I don't see any way he makes it before Ultimate Kaiser, and he's going onto the apron. He won't make it to the finish.
The car is dead, and he retires. And
he retires. It's completely done.
Onto a podium position out of nowhere. What happened to Fennick?
And Xevious, Fennick was in the pits, so
that was a long
I don't
stop.
know if he'd repaired or something else. I don't know, but he definitely needed to refuel. I don't know how much he's done that, but he's lost a lot of time. Xevious, having pitted really late, as we said before, back up to 4th because he's effectively, other people having fuel issues has brought him back into the right number of pit stops. So he's not had any issues. Gerald has maybe fueled more or saved fuel or what have you, so he is way ahead. And Runelink and Ultimate Kaiser have managed to finish the race. They've already finished.
Okay.
They've finished this. They managed to refuel and finish the race quick enough to where Gerald couldn't overtake them. No, they are finished. Svi did, so Svi beat Dustin. Alan Fry coming across soon. Matt fighting with Mats for the last position. Photo finish? No. Oh, well, yes, but it appears that the contact may have reduced Mats's momentum a little, so he was unable to overtake Alan at the line.
Yeah, so trying to.
But that was a very eventful last few. So Cookie's finished, Exus is finished, Bat Scout finding Mozzie. Is he last? Yes, that was the last person.
Yeah, trying to arrange an interview with our race winner, Runelink. Very good performance, of course, the fuel being a limiting factor there, but he managed this quite well.
And the only person set a one. Actually, no. Ultimate Kaiser and Runelink, the only people to set a 133. Actually, probably also Roman, but we can't see him due to having retired.
I think Roman set a 33.0 at some point as well. It was very. Or was it 34.0? I don't know, man. It was a really good time.
Well, he did definitely set a 34.0, but whether he set a 33.0, I don't know, but he definitely set a 33. But that was a very exciting end to the race.
Here's a second, then Gerald Speed, at the death of the session for SSR, takes another podium position. Veilside winning in GT3. It was second place for Svi, and Dustin rounding off that podium. Congratulations to all of those drivers. You see how big the lobby is. It's very good.
Well, the lobby has shrunk quite a lot. I mean, it was, I think, 26 people or 25 in the lobby to begin with, and it has shrank to, I think, 18 people at the end.
Yeah, something like that. Roman did retire, of course, very late, but in the end, it was unfortunate for him not to box there. But I do think we have the winner of this race here with us. Hello, Runelink. Congratulations.
Hello. Thank you very much.
Very well done.
How was that race from your perspective? Take us through it, because there was a lot of things that we didn't quite understand, but we calculated might be an issue. So tell us what happened.
Yeah, so right from the beginning, we kind of knew the strategy was going to be interesting, because you couldn't really do it on a two-stop if you were pushing the whole time. So towards the end there, we were We were just trying to save enough fuel to make it.
Yeah, so it was absolutely a fuel issue then. Were you pushing the whole race then? Were you trying to stay away from the guys as much as possible? Is that what landed you into trouble at the end?
No, we all kind of thought it was going to be a 3-stop, and only realized in the last stint, like, wait, hold on, we can make this. So then we all started to try and save enough.
Ah, right. So it was a very much finding out as you went. Roman in the end did retire due to running out of fuel. Do you know anything about that, or did he just was he not in the chat?
No, it's interesting because we thought he was also saving. He might have been in, but he wasn't talking. So it'd be interesting to know why he wasn't able to make it.
Could be opportunities thinking, oh, maybe I could just about make it. And
Yeah, I had 4
but...
liters left in the end, so just enough in case the time went over and I had to do another lap.
Yeah.
So pretty close.
So it was very interesting. We were looking at that. So everything was going on, but in the end, you did manage to pull out a win. Before that, there was a lot of battling in the top 3. I think at some point, Roman and Kiesa were up ahead, and then they dropped back. Do you know what happened?
Yeah, they had a moment. They crashed in the fast chicane. So they spun out, and then Kiesa waited. So that's why I lost a lot of time.
Okay.
I had a moment as well earlier on in the first stint with the first back marker I encountered. I just misjudged my braking point and I went into the wall. But I managed to recover that time.
Well, that is very interesting because we missed the sort of moment between Roman and Ultimate Kaiser, and we thought it was a bit strange to see them just suddenly drop back from what was quite a considerable lead over you to then you having a massive lead over them. So it really turned the race on its head.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to watch back. I think Kaiser Roman broke a bit earlier than usual, but let's look at the replay. I think there was no damage though, so it worked out in the end, apart from the fuel issue.
Okay. I thought, well, we thought there might be damage because the interesting thing was when they then went into the pits, we saw them pit for a lot longer than anyone else. As they were overtaken by Fennec, they were overtaken by JJ. So
yeah,
we thought that they might have had damage.
They didn't change tires, as far as I know, and they put in less fuel, so they were on a slightly different strategy.
Okay, interesting.
At least one of them. I'm not fully sure. There's a lot of strategic stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting to see. Well, you never really know with Roman because he's not going to tell you his strategy. But it is interesting that you can be on strategies that are like they'll end up being similarly fast, but they are very much a different strategy, at least in terms of tires.
Yeah, the tires were interesting because it seemed like in the practice before, it seemed like they would hold on, but in the end, we just decided to change tires at every stop because they were kind of past halfway and it was too scary to do another stint on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we kind of thought that might be the case because we saw people just start coming in at a bit different times and it didn't seem to be fuel related. So we sort of thought it might be the tires, but it really depended who it was because I think the most different person might have been Gerald, but I think they were the only person that I can think of who actually managed to 2-stop. But they seem to do a hell of a lot of saving.
Yeah,
unless I just
Jay
missed their pit stop. But
Jay was in P2 for a long time with a different strategy, and then I'm not sure exactly where he ended up.
They ended up
finish.
DNFing. They quit. I think they were in 5th for ages. So they were in 2nd for ages. They were on a bit of a different strategy, so they dropped back to 5th. And then I don't know what happened, but they just sort of dropped back massively, and I don't know if it was something wrong with their strategy or if they just made a mistake. But they ended up dropping miles off and then leaving. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they just got too bad really to drive on. They just lost too much.
Yeah, I was definitely struggling with grip towards the end, like having to move the brake bias.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very difficult and interesting race today then. Next week we're going to Spa, and I believe you're scheduled to join there too.
Yes, be
Do you have
interesting.
any-
I haven't tried it yet, so
All right.
we'll see what
So
it's like to drive.
You'll be looking at the fuel usage again, and it's probably a little bit
Yeah.
less bad because it's on Novel, but something to
Yeah, I guess
think
there
about.
are still a lot of straights, but be interesting to see how close it is on fuel.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on winning the race for the DPI class. You did a very good job today.
Yeah, MSR got P2 in both classes, so that's good for MSR.
That's very good. I think both teams got 3 podium positions actually. That's a very, very nice. I think very well balanced. All right.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you very
so.
much.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on first.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys.
I was about to pull Vilside in, but I think he just expired.
Yeah, he's just left the driver's
It
race
took a
chat.
little bit too long. All right, but I think
Yeah, unless we have other people lined up, which we don't seem to, then I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's it then for today. Do join us again next week. I'm planning
Oh
to.
no, wait, Nismo's in the driver's race chat. He seems to be,
Oh.
he's desperate for an interview. Hello, Nismo.
Heard you needed people.
Well, I mean, need people. You know, we're about
Yeah,
to
need is
sign
a
off.
strong word.
I was about to have my cup of tea, but here you are. So, yeah, tell us about the race. We saw you didn't. Mike's my interpretation is that your qualifying wasn't great. Your start of your race was excellent, and then it's a mystery.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I've never been good at qualifying. As a driver, I find myself quite consistent, so I can normally end up doing my qualifying pace during the race as well. Especially at the start as well, where a lot of people are taking it more slow, as it were, and I just still feel as if I have the confidence. But yeah, great start. I was fighting with JJ and what's his name? I think Dakara F1.
Gerald, was it?
That
Oh,
him too,
no.
yeah.
The Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah, having a proper freeway battle where we were essentially in a train, where we was in a train of slipstream essentially, where we couldn't pass each other because we all had slipstream, even though we were so close. And it was really good moves and stuff until I made a move on Dakar F1, and then the next corner, the bus stop, I decided to bin it. Luckily, didn't get damage, which was awesome. Until later, where I would sadly have an incident with a back marker and end up whacking headfirst into a wall, and funnily enough, on the way back, losing a wheel as well.
Oh no.
So I'm just happy. I'm just happy I'm left in the race, to be honest.
Hey, you got there in the end. We did actually catch your moment at the chicane on
Oh,
the stream,
oh.
so you can watch that back if you like. You don't have to. Yeah, unfortunately, also about the incident with the back marker. AMS2, of course, if you get sufficient damage, at some point AMS2 will eject your wheel into wherever it likes. Tends to lose a lot of time. Yeah, that's this time. Are you planning to join next time as well at Spa?
Oh yeah, even though I came last, excluding all the disconnects, honestly, it was so fun. So enjoyable, and yeah, it's fun watching you guys as well commentate. And I can't lie, I sweated a bit a few times when I saw you switch to a Toyota, and then I went, oh thank God it's Roman. But yeah, honestly, thank you guys so much for streaming as well. It's yeah, been a long one compared to the normal ones that I'm used to. So honestly, thanks so much, guys.
It's been a very fun experience, actually. It's been a very interesting race. Kind of the GT3 race was a bit more normal, but the DPI race, half the time we had no idea what's going on because the It was very hard to be consistent, I think. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely found at some points I was finding a lot of pace, but then at some other points I all of a sudden felt as if the person behind me would just get massive amounts of speed and somehow be all up behind me, which was confusing at moments. I remember going through the bus stop and just before looking behind me, going, he's well off. He's not going to get my slipstream. Coming out of the bus stop, on the other hand, he was on my bumper somehow, and that made me go, maybe I am that slow. But no, it was a great racing with everyone, to be honest. I'm glad I made those positions up at the start and was able to be part of the battle, even though I started quite far back. But yeah, amazing fights, and yeah, can't wait for Spa.
Right. That will be exciting then, and of course, small shout out. Nismo also does his own streams of our races. If you just look up GT Nismo, that is Nismo, on Twitch, you will be able to find his streams. And tomorrow, in fact, he will stream again in the F1 race where I will be racing. I'm not sure if Troubles, are you joining as well tomorrow?
I think so. Wait,
Okay.
for the racing or for? I don't know exactly what I'm doing, to be honest.
Sorry, tomorrow during the race, because I'm shouting out Nismo stream.
Well,
Okay.
yeah,
I
predicament.
don't.
at the
I
time.
actually don't think I am racing tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's
if
unfortunate.
Martin isn't able to come tomorrow because he's given us 50-50 signs on whether he's going to be joining, Trouble might be joining me in the commentary booth tomorrow as well.
Maybe.
So
We'll see.
this was it.
That's-
This was
It'll
Some
be
of-
interesting because it means I will have commentated on. Well, I will have commentated once with Martin, once with you now, Finn, and once with Nismo.
Oh, I've got to comment. I've got to find a way.
That's
now
if
to
that
commentate with
happens, that
Fendix
is.
now.
Yeah. Now you two need to do it, and then Finn, you also need to do it with Martin.
We need to cross pollinate
Just-
all the
Just all of
casting
the
styles.
yeah.
We'll get there
Well, actually, wait.
eventually. We've got time.
Usually, you and I think usually the two of you end up doing more similar things. Like the Nismo doesn't usually control the cameras, and this time you weren't controlling the cameras. So I don't know.
Well,
I don't know
I think this
how
is
it
the
would
first
work
time-
or what would work
This is
best.
the first time I haven't controlled the cameras, because I also think this is the first time I've done AMS2 commentary without like somebody else, with someone else there. So
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense then.
Also,
Yeah,
I've
so
done
that's-
ACC commentary though. That's much nicer on the cameras, and you have so much more information. But that's a rant for another day.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Nismo. Very good race.
Thank you guys, and yeah, I'll probably catch you guys tomorrow then.
All right, see you then.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we've got one more driver in the drivers race chat. We'll pull him in
Hello.
for an interview. Hello, Fennec. How are you doing after that race?
Good. Feel a bit silly, but fine.
What makes you feel silly? Do inform us.
Oh, just having. I thought something would pop up when Runelink crossed the line, but apparently when it's +1 laps afterwards, nothing does. So I got confused and thought there was 2 laps left. Despite having 0.3 liters more than K's, and easily enough to do a lap, I went in on the last lap like an idiot.
Oh no.
Lost 2 positions. I mean, between that and doing 2 unbelievably funny mistakes, just not paying attention at all, and basically just going off the track and having to do a U-turn twice and losing 10 seconds each time, I could have easily had second. Unfortunately, a few cases of not paying enough attention, let's just say, cost me a few places. But it's still a very fun race, so yeah,
So
brilliant.
basically, you bottled Q2/Q3.
P2/P3. But
Yes, not Q. Sorry, too used to Sergio Perez bottling qualifying.
All right.
No, I was fine in
Don't
qualifying.
punch the man.
Yeah, no, the man made it to Q3 this time. We're good.
Yeah. Now,
But,
just off the podium then today, but you felt like you had the pace. Next time we're going on Spa next week already. How do you feel
Yep.
about Spa as a track?
I mean, I like Spa, but I haven't done any practice, so
You know,
Should be
personally,
fine.
I think it's one of the tracks of all time.
yeah, it is indeed one of the tracks of all time.
I think it's a great track, but mostly an F1 car.
It's a nice track. I think in something like this, it should be interesting because their brakes are not as good as you'd think from an LMP style car, which I
Alright,
feel
that's
like
very
on Spa
interesting.
might make a bit of a difference. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that works out in the end. Anything else interesting that happened during the race? We saw you had the pace and the error at the end is explained. Was there anything else you had to think about? Anything interesting?
Just well, fuel. Trying to calculate it for room making case.
Yeah, just
Especially
fuel.
because I pitted a lap after Kays and Roman, and then whereas Roman didn't seem to save fuel, Kays was saving like hell and ended up saving just over a lap, and Runeling had slightly less than, despite pitting the same laps. Yeah, just making sure we had enough because it was quite tight.
That's very interesting. So next week might be a repeat of that, of course. I do know the MSR guys do test and practice a lot ahead of time. A very good idea of
Yeah, some
how
some
long
more than
the-
others, but yeah, in general, MSR guys like to do practice. It seems.
Yeah, exactly. And very good idea of generally how the race will play out and what the strategies will be. It's going to be interesting to see what that will mean for the next race at a different track.
Indeed.
All right, I think that's enough. Thank you so much for joining and great race. Hopefully next time with a great result as well.
No problem. I hope you enjoy watching.
And oh, absolutely, to be fair. And thank you so much for watching. If you are a viewer of the stream, or yeah, if you have been, we'll be back next week, and I think I might be back the Tuesday, maybe. I'm not exactly sure what the calendar holds for me for the Classic Day Championship. Might again be postponed a little bit or the week after. But anyway, next week on Sunday, same time, we'll have a race around Spa with the same people, roughly the same cars, TT3s and GPIs, and hopefully I'll have trouble with me as well to support me in commentary. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you
Thanks
guys
for having me.
next time. All right.